How does a cell know when to make more of an amino acid or when it already has enough? Let's look at one way the tryptophan operon does it, called attenuation. This process, together with the separate action of the trp repressor, fine-tunes the level of transcription based on the cell's need for the enzymes. The tryptophan operon has a leader sequence called TrpL, which codes mRNA with 4 special sequences. Sequence 1 codes a leader peptide which requires 2 tryptophans. We'll see why this is important in a minute. Sequence 2 contains a string of bases which are complementary to a string in sequence 3, and sequence 3 contains a string complementary to bases in sequence 4. RNA polymerase binds to the promoter sequence and starts to transcribe the trp leader sequence. As soon as a small section of mRNA is transcribed, ribosomes begin to translate it. Recall that sequence 1 codes for 2 tryptophans. When tryptophan is abundant, there are lots of trp-charged tRNAs, and the ribosome quickly moves through this section of mRNA and covers part of sequence 2, preventing or disrupting any base pairs between region 2 and region 3. As sequences 3 and 4 are transcribed, their complementary bases quickly pair, and the stem and loop lollipop acts as a termination sequence, or attenuator. The RNA polymerase dissociates from the DNA before it can transcribe the tryptophan synthesis genes. The cell has plenty of tryptophan already, so why waste energy making more? Suppose tryptophan is scarce and there are few charged trp tRNAs available. When the ribosome reaches the tryptophan codons on the newly transcribed mRNA, it pauses, waiting for a trp tRNA, but it is not yet covering sequence number 2. RNA polymerase continues to transcribe mRNA, and sequence 2 can now pair with complementary bases in sequence 3. This stem and loop structure does not act as a termination sequence, and the RNA polymerase continues to transcribe the tryptophan structural genes. When there is a lot of tryptophan and trp tRNAs, the attenuator will operate again until trp levels are low.